Willkommen, Hoinan, and welcome back to Full Throttle Racing. This is time for the Division 2 race this week. It's Wednesday night, of course, and we're ready for the round 5 of Season 8, and we're ready to get underway. We are going to Mexico. Forgive the forgive the errant title of the video. I was in a little bit of a rush tonight. Managed to select the incorrect track on the calendar. So we are going to Mexico, not Saudi. Saudi is next week. My apologies. I was a little bit late. Fully my fault for the UK and their idiosyncratic way of changing the clocks. Threw me out this week, but we're here. We're just a couple of minutes late. We're waiting for Hashim to press the button, I think, at the moment. So thankfully, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. But hopefully, we will be underway very soon for you. My name is Webbo, and here is your regular Season 2, regular Division 2 commentator. I've done a fair few races for commentary around Mexico in the last few weeks. As you can probably imagine, it's absolutely very popular at this point in the real F1 calendar. So I should know my way around, and I will try and give you the best broadcast possible. Let's just wait and see what happens with this this lobby. Hashim is being bugged. There we go. He's left the session, so the session should begin, and then hopefully he'll be able to restart, rejoin, and get himself into qualifying with the rest of us. Anyway, if you're here to watch along, do remember to say hello. Tell me who you're here to support and what you're seeing on track, what you're predicting might happen. What you think will be the cut-off point, and how many drivers the game will suddenly decide to eliminate today. It could well just be the one once we get Hashim back. Well, Hashim is registered as being part of the broadcast, so we've got a 15-driver Q1. That could mean that this first session is somewhat moot. We'll see. As the Alfa Romeo of, I'm assuming that to be Jack, is the first guy out there. Hello to Manu, who joins us, who's here for a fun race. He's just cheering on boys tonight, which it sounds like Arno for the win, he says. Great, okay, well, that's good to see, good to know. Arno in the sister Alfa Romeo to the one that's on screen at the moment. Let's talk you through where we find ourselves with regard to the standings at the moment. Uma leads the championship on 98 points, but a good win last week from Martin means that we go up to 89 points with Martin, and so only a 9-point lead at the moment for Umer. Pantry Star is in joint second place with 0-2 Call on 57 points, some way away from the two fastest drivers at the moment, Umer and Martin. It's good to see Uzi back as well, who had to sit out last week. We have a joint fifth place of Avalak and Bunyiz on 53, so they're not far away from the joint third place either. Then comes Chums on 48, Super D on 44. We have Nick Gishan on 35, who has shown some really good speed through the course of this season, but just couldn't get the consistency all the way through to the end of the previous race. And then rounding out the top 10 is Top Gun on 30 points. I'll take you through the overall constructor standings shortly, but we're about to get on track with Jacques, so let's join him on board and take in the Circuito Hermanos Rodriguez here in Mexico City, 2.2 kilometers above sea level. So the track feels like it's made of ice. It feels really low grip for the drivers, even if they put a decent amount of wing on. And through the first three corners goes Jacques. Very steady, very stable. Exactly what you want to be doing on the first lap out there. I'll see if I can get any any updates from the drivers, but it would be unusual to see anything other than full dry conditions. Into turn 6, the double right-hander effectively numbered as one continuous corner, but there are two painted apexes. Then we're into the Yahoo S's section of the track. Very tricky, this section of the track, especially, and there's an invalidation straight away for Jacques. Unfortunately, that's not how you do it. Uzi's on his outlap. Who else is actually attacking a lap at the moment? There goes Top Gun. He's currently on a lap, so we'll stay with him then and see if he can keep this one alive. Down we go into turn 4. And of course the purple sector is just for him on his first lap of the evening. So mini straight then towards turn 7 as we cut the chicane slightly. We get a little bit lively over the inside curb. That's where the Ferraris were going wrong all weekend long, and I think we'll be missing an element or two of that front wing. Well, virtually an entire wing. Well, there you go. That's a very, very interesting glitch, isn't it? We have end plates but no main plane of the front wing. Awesome. Just what you want there from Codemasters. Brilliant new one. I've not seen that one before. We've got some new glitches, some new problems with the latest update that was pushed through on Monday. And maybe push through is the right phrase. Let's try and find you a car then that is complete and attacking. Nick Gishen starting his hot lap then in the Red Bull, just going outside of track limits there slightly with one wheel at least. Needs to be back on the track before the braking zone of turn 1. Very late on the brakes considering the lack of downforce, but just about tips the car in. Maybe 2 attempts to get the turn in correct there for the turn 2 switchback. And hi to Hanko, who joins us as well. Hanko, who are you cheering on? Pantry Star goes fastest on a 17.0. Boutniers on a 17.9. And nothing very dramatic at the moment on board the Red Bull for Nick Gishen. Clipping both apexes through turn 6. And then we try and tackle the S's. Let's see, third time's a charm maybe. Very difficult. You don't want to straddle those curbs too soon. They do flatten off and get a little bit easier at the end of the S's here, but it's like that early part that the guys are struggling with. Braking heavily just over the curb of turn 12. Then we're into this Mickey Mouse section in the Forosol baseball stadium section before getting back for the final half of the former Peraltada, or now Mansell corner, and a 17.1 for Nick Gishen, just that 1/10 slower than Pantry Star, who has seen a real return to form, a real uptick in his time. And hi to Puna, as Brad goes P3, 17.9, just a shade faster than Boutniers in the Williams, the Alpine Boutniers, isn't it? Who else have we got? Martin out there on track. He's stuck behind a Williams at the moment though, who is derating. I'm not sure that this is ideal for Martin. This looks to be a warm-up lap. Oh, he's going into the pits. So nothing huge for Martin. No big cost for him. We've got a fan of Arno in the chat, so let's ride with Arno for the final sector of his first attempt. 57.9. He is through sector 2. You'll see cars going wide through and at the beginning of turn 12 quite often. Avoid those bollards, of course, and don't trust that they limit the edge of the track limits. And Arno round, unfortunately, a neat little 300-degree turn, and that's the end of that lap, and I'm imagining the next one, but he's going to log that lap anyway. That is where he sits at this stage. So 3 laps deep is Jacques. Not really going for anything special here at the moment. We've got Umer in P7 at 23.7. We've got Uzi on the way into the pits as well. Both McLarens in the pits now. So waiting to see where everybody is. Fahim is here to watch his boys, the Osman boys, both in the McLaren, of course. So hopefully he'll be cheering them on. Not engineering, he says, quite emphatically, not going to be engineering. The Shakes, I think, is going to tackle the lap for the next one. And yeah, Puna says, where's the Osman family? There they right are. So don't think that they're not here, but the whole clan of Osman fans will be joining us, I'm sure, as the evening progresses. So Hashim, has he managed to get in the car? He has, which is good to see. So Hashim will be able to tackle the next attempt. Just under 10 minutes to go before this Q1 session is over. Remember, 3 sessions of qualifying you will have. And Tiago is cheering on his nephews, Shakes and Brad. I didn't even actually, do you know what? I commentated over those 2 boys all season last season, and I didn't know they were related. So there you go. They're both nephews. Excellent stuff. So Shakes has obviously messed up the S's. We'll have to start all over again. And a lot of drivers in the pits at the moment. I don't know if we're about to see some retirements. Can Top Gun make it through the S's this time? He's into 7th gear. Someone going very slowly. I think that's still Shakes. And Hashim has left the session again. Hashim obviously struggling with connection tonight. Here is Top Gun. Yeah, the point I was making about those bollards is that Mick Schumacher, an invalidation again for Top Gun just at the dying moments of his lap. But Mick Schumacher said that if he avoided the bollard, he thought he was still on track limits. But he managed to, there was just a shade more than a car width between the bollard and the track limits. I can kind of see his point on that. He said, what's the point of a bollard if it isn't denoting how close you can push to the cars where the visibility is so much reduced? So I do see his point. So Top Gun, I think he'd be hoping just to set a lap now. Avalak is out on track to set his first time. Let's see Top Gun's first sector. It's a purple one for him. I think he'll just keep getting purple sectors until he finally sets a time on us. Talk to me about how the Premier Division went yesterday. I haven't caught up, I'm afraid, so feel free to drop your reviews. Talk to me about what strategy you found best. Has anyone dared to use the new tyre model that came in this week? The race I commentated on earlier in the week just came a little bit too early, and I don't think the drivers really decided to try a double medium stint with a soft tyre or a double hard. They weren't doing it. Oreo, yeah. My apologies. In my haste tonight, I misread the calendar, so we will get that changed for you. Don't you worry. We'll change the title. Unfortunately, I can't do it while we're on stream, but we'll take care of it. Yeah. Read that as what next week's race will be. Top Gun is really struggling to get a decent lap in here. Let's see about Avi though. A 1:17.4 up to P5, 3 tenths away from his teammate, and 4 tenths away from Pantry Star, who is on provisional fastest time in this first session of qualifying. We only have 15 runners, so I imagine we're going to have all of them qualify. So the sooner that they all retire, the better, frankly. Fahim says Jeddah's new track, Mexico. Yeah. The S's section of Mexico does make me think about a couple of sections out of Jeddah, and we'll see some very similar corners next week. Of course, have we got a driver pushing? We have Jacques. Well, that was not anything special, was it? It was a very slow lap. So Jacques will have a go now. He's not managed to set a time yet, so we'll try and get it there. Heavily braking then into turn 1 and 2. Just avoid those lumpy red curbs on the inside. Those are what will unsettle the car, and if you happen to be on the slightest bit of throttle as the car is hopped up, you will see that the back tyres will light up and the car will spin around. I think we will see a fair amount of mistakes tonight, and it could be a little bit like a round of golf. It's not so much how right you get every corner on the track, it's how few mistakes you make. I think in Mexico, Pantry Star goes faster still, but still stays in the 1:17.0 mark. So reaching perhaps the limit of what he and the track combination can bring tonight. So Jacques, let's see, treading carefully in the final sector. 5.5 minutes of Q1 to go. If everybody sees out their every single moment left in the session. Arno retires just to free up the track for everybody else, and the comments are coming in. There we go, across the line then. Jacques makes a 20.1 which lifts him away from the bottom danger zone if we do have a danger zone. I'm not sure that we do. Yeah. Jacques manages to set that one. He's on the cooldown at the moment. Everybody appears to have set a lap at least. So will we see some retirements at this point, or are we going to find some drivers who are pushing? Chums is on the push. He's on P10 at the moment in the Haas, and his first sector is half a second slower than he's been before. I don't think then that's going to be worth our screen time watching. Avalax seems to be thrashing the car somewhat as he heads down now into a stadium. Almost out of it. Very, very low grip on the way through the turn 16 exit. There we go, just to prove how low grip the car actually is. And Avalax then spins the car. He won't go faster than a 17.4. I hope he's gone to the correct side of the bollard, even though the bollard's been totaled already. And it's a good note for the rest of the race session tonight that in that pit lane entry is a little bit difficult for the drivers. You will see some mistakes, I think, tonight, or you'll see some hyper careful drivers going into the pit lane. Well, Shakes is very close to that Ferrari in front. I'm guessing Shakes is on his way in. You wouldn't want to be quite that close. It looks like Zero who is on it, and he's about to start his next lap, so he's going to keep running. Excuse me, still recovering here on the voice. Yeah, Zero is actually Hanko in the chat, so he's here supporting himself as he mentioned earlier, which is always good. Be your own #1 fan. 3 minutes to go in Q1, as long as everybody fails to retire early. So Zero. Short shifting on the way out of turn 5 then in 5th gear, just to counteract that tendency to oversteer. And it's 5th, levels out to 6th, just to collect the car, stop the rears from slipping too much, and it starts to get a little bit better and smoother in the second half of the S's, straddling that curve to enter turn 12 from the widest possible point. You don't want to be 2 wheels on the curb, but 1 wheel on the centre line of the car is fine. Here comes Zero then to the line. Top Gun retires from the session, but Zero to call for the line from 4th. Goes 6 thousandths faster, but no positions better, unfortunately. But still a good time for Zero. That's something to build on in the next session. 17.2. 1/4 of a second away from the fastest time. I think we will see times into the 1:16s easily. And Puna says the driver with the least penalties will win tonight. Yeah, I think that's a good shout as well. Everyone else in the pits apart from Zero, and I think Jacques at the moment. Is Jacques on a push lap? Yes, it looks like he is. No, he isn't. He looked like he was half a second up, but then he crossed the line and he was 9 seconds down. So 1 minute 30 to go. I'm imagining everybody will retire this session now. Hello to Camilla, who is here for the Osmonds, I think, unless she's one of those types of family members who only cheer on the alternate drivers. I've got a few in leagues that I do, you know, brothers and siblings that. Oh no.